Hello everyone and welcome back to the LPL. We're here getting ready for game number 2 between JD Gaming and Vici Gaming. In game number 1, Clement, in a word, that was a doozy.
Yeah, I have to say it's good to have JD Gaming back playing on form. That game really displayed smart drafting, smart idea of how to counter an enemy composition, go for the poke against the Sona Taric, and good execution as well. JD Gaming actually did not have a great start of the game. Vici were leading throughout the entirety of the early game, but just that one Drake fight, and then that one fight where they were only up by 1k gold, they were able to completely wipe Vici Gaming, really show you the difference in experience between these squads.
Yeah, in JD Gaming, I feel like this is a return back to form. This is a call back to the JD Gaming that made it all the way to the finals. This is finally what we've been expecting to see from them all split, really.
Hey, Rift Rivals is coming up. You got to shape up now.
They're like, oh, crap. Coach Home got out the belt. He's like, all right, guys, we are not making the LPL look bad. Let's shape back up, and I think one of the ways that they showed us that they are really coming back into it is this team fight coming up, because JD Gaming looks so unbelievably strong in this one.
Yeah, key thing here for me is that Vici, if you're going to see it, you need a ward over that wall. Easy initiate on Yagao to get Youngdang down, and Youngdang just never gets in range for that subjugate, instantly getting followed up by the Yuumi. That was actually a final chapter from a portal jump, closing the distance so fast, no reaction time coming in from Puff. You can see he does not even use his crescendo before going down, and the entire team fight collapses. That was basically three ultimates that didn't really do anything. Subjugate wasn't enough to keep him alive. Crescendo wasn't used, and Cosmic Radiance didn't come down in time. So just the burst potential and the poke potential from JD Gaming was managed so well in that team fight.
And of course, he lost so much health in that fight. Puff did. From our MVP from game number 1 is going to be, of course, Yagao on that Zoe. Our favorite champion from him last split. Our favorite champion so far. Well, if I can speak for myself, my favorite champion from him, the James Bond here on the Zoe, 007 KDA, but more important, that kill participation, that damage, he did his job perfectly.
It's always something that you can expect Yagao to go back to. When things are difficult, just give him Zoe. And he won that matchup incredibly hard. Like, just solo laning, he got the cleanse, he delayed the tier buy to 10 minutes from Jay. And even with his jungle going down early, he still had full control of the entire lane for a very long time. So that's just something that you always need to keep in mind where you're going up against Yagao, and I hope he can expand that same level of mastery to a couple more champions to have a stable footing.
Well, if we're rotating, let's pivot a little bit, right? Let's pivot back to Vici Gaming, because they had a game plan coming in. They had a game plan they could work to. They did not execute on it well in the later stages of the game, but going into that point, where were their failings? Was it just JD Gaming playing strictly better?
I wouldn't say JD Gaming played strictly better in the early game, but they out-team fought the first Mountain Drake way too hard. If you look at that Mountain Drake, sure, Vici got the Drake itself, but they had to burn 4 flashes for it in the meantime while Durima was using his final chapter. And what that snowballed into is that they didn't have vision over that side of the map. They didn't contest it. They went for Baron bait, an early 20-minute Baron bait, which is something I would expect JD Gaming would do. They didn't sweep any of the area, so they just gave up their mid lane tower, gave up the Drake, and that lost them so much control on the map that I never felt like Jay had enough time to catch up to levels. He was already behind in lane and couldn't really fight the game plank. So there wasn't a situation where Vici Gaming could then break up the poke composition from JD Gaming. Well, their best opportunities for me was just to use that second Drake opportunity, force JD Gaming into a close proximity team fight, get a multi-man crescendo before they really have any of their like Mikhail items or their QSSs, and just try to snowball the game from there. They didn't happen. They didn't get the Mountain Drake. They didn't get the split pushing, and it was just the poke comp's time to then step in and just control the entire map after that one. So I really see this loss as JD Gaming taking hold of their teamfight strength and then pivoting it into a macro win.
I think one of the most interesting things there is we were talking about how if JD Gaming want to capitalize on these team fights, if they want to be able to take them, this was at the very beginning of the game. It was, you have to burst them down before Cosmic Radiance comes out. If it never comes out, what are you bursting through? What are you trying to stop them from doing? The last time it came out, literally Imp got 4 stacks on someone and Cosmic Radiance went on. He was like, sure, whatever. I'm just going to take the damage. I'm just going to put it down onto the enemy, and I'll just flash over the wall and get the kill. Cosmic Radiance only matters if you're able to land it when it's helpful.
Which is an interesting point, because most of the time we're actually seeing Sona Tahm Kench a little bit more than Sona Tark now. Now, I did say at the start of Split, I feel like Tahm Kench was just a worse option because your survivability was much lower. You can't flash with the Devour anymore. However, now I see the wisdom in it. I see why Suning runs Sona Tahm Kench more than they do run with Sona Taric, because the anti-poke potential is a lot higher with Tahm Kench. You have the gray health as well, you can survive, and if Sona gets caught, you're not going to have the same situation that happened just that game. You're going to be able to swallow the Sona, spit her out, and get a better crescendo. So maybe that's something that Vici Gaming can consider. We don't have a lot of Tahm Kench games onto Southwind yet. But if they want to run the same composition, you can maybe change that around. Or the other thing they need to think of is how they want to initiate. Because they did have a fighting chance in these team fights. They weren't that far behind in gold. Less than 1k down in that team fight where they were completely wiped. But they never found a correct way. I feel like what they could do is have more creative usage of the Realm Warp. If they sieged, backed off, and used Realm Warp to go behind the enemy position, maybe that would allow them to catch back up. You send someone like Renekton with a stopwatch into the back line. That can buy you enough time to actually sandwich the enemy team composition, but you have to be very creative.
As we get ready to go into the draft, what adaptations do you want to see from Vici specifically? Because I feel like a lot of our complaints were mostly on execution. However, I feel like there are some things that are easier to not make those execution mistakes on, although it was pretty big ones.
I don't love Blind Pick Rise, to be honest. I feel like it's a slow champion, and just looking at the way the players play against each other, I don't think it's going to be great for Jay. So I would actually prefer to see him on something that, in terms of win rate, his most successful champions have been things like the Lissandra, like the Galio, which can now be played AP, by the way. Things that provide a stable frontline and also give you engage potential. I think that is what Vici needs a lot more than a side lane split pusher like Rise. Like, I haven't seen Vici show me the potential or the capacity to play those compositions well. Maybe if they can get a champion that does something early game, that would be a better way to snowball. You already have Youngdang sitting at 80% first blood rate, and he got a first blood that game as well. I would try to capitalize on that.
Also, looking down in the bottom lane of the map, at least I do not associate Puff and Southwind with a very pokey, just sort of like, yes, we are farming, it's cool, it's all good, of the Sona Taric. I feel like for them, something like the Xayah Rakan would have been that style. Well, right, but that style is what I more associate closely with those bottom laners of Vici. Do you feel like that's a possible adaptation they want to make, or is it just everything else, Chelizi and the Blind Pick Rise were the bigger problems there?
I would honestly say I don't think Sona Taric was that bad of an idea. It didn't match up well against what the composition that JD Gaming did, but it did its job in terms of getting through the early game okay, getting ready to scale, and just take over those mid-game team fights. It's their lack of initiation options that really hurt them in that fight, and worse macro decisions. So I think something that can actually have a little bit more lane priority in the mid lane is exactly what they need. I wouldn't be surprised if they go for Sona Taric again with a different mid lane pick. And that girl was very surprised that after the camera started taking her, the ban pick seemed to have stopped. You are special.
It's not the ban pick is no longer in focus. It's, oh, we see you? All right. You're on the camera now. Congratulations, have fun. It's a little bit less fun than the OMG kiss cams in the arena.
Oh, those are great.
Those are so much fun because my favorite thing is to see two dudes who are just there like as friends. They're on the kiss cam and they're just like, ha ha, 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 ha. And it's so much fun to watch. Of course, that is in the Chengdu arena.
Have you seen the, we have a lot of like temps when they practice in the arena. They actually have to do both sides of the kiss cam. So you'll see a guy standing in one seat, and he'll do a fake hug, and then hug himself, and then kiss himself. It's so cute. I love the way they do their prep.
That's beautiful. Little bit different prep coming in from both of these teams this series. Of course, Vici first picking the Olaf there. JD Gaming going to be picking up the Jarvan the 4th and the Yuumi.
Yep, much better initiation here. You don't really see Flawless ever taking Trundle, so I think it's quite a safe pick just to go early. And we do have to remember, Chelizi does play Olaf top lane. It is a Conqueror Olaf top. Now, taking a look at the other picks that they're hoovering right now, it will be the Karma. Mainly, we've been seeing her go towards the support position. Great against the Yuumi. You can have extra wave clear over her. But it also could go into the mid lane and the top lane as well. She's a triple flex in the current meta, so a lot of options.
We've seen so much Karma here in the LPL, and now that the buffs are going to be coming out in the next patch, it is just going to be absolutely, unbelievably disgusting.
Yeah, 9.12 was a hell of a patch for Karma.
Hysterics does not stop talking about how excited he is, of course, the Karma main. He's like, I told you. It's like, all right, fair enough. Karma, though, is already strong on 9.11, so we're going to see that locked in alongside the Lucian there going to the bottom lane of Puff. I like to see that a lot better than the Sona Targ. I feel like, personally, in my gut, I feel like Puff is going to execute better with this one.
Yeah, they're going to give Puff a lot more options. The Lucian does deal a lot more damage in team fights these days, mainly the Essence Reaver build. Now we're going to see a lot of hard engage options being taken out here. The Nautilus first one to go from Soutwind. They don't want to have that opportunity for them to find just 2v2 kills in lane.
Going to take that one away, of course, but this is going to be the Yuumi Kaisa lane, coming out once again for JD Gaming. I guess they were pretty happy with that one last game. Vici for the second game in a row, banning away the Azir. We didn't really talk about it much last time, but we have seen it cropping up a little bit more here in the LPL.
JD Gaming did find their latest win with the Azir on board. Just gives you an auto late game win option. Very hard to counter out that Azir once you get there. And Vici Gaming are a team that likes to play towards the later phases of the game, so I can understand why they're taking away that scaling option. They also have the Lucian, so probably want to win a bit earlier than late.
Look at the bans as well. JD Gaming were not happy about that Renekton last game. Do you feel like this is a response to the top lane Renekton last game, or just the possibility of it being a flex towards the mid?
Well, look, if Zoom is always going to play something like Victor Gangplank, you might as well just ban the Renekton. You might as well. Like, Renekton Olaf is such a pain. The rundown potential in that lane is massive. So I guess it's just preserving the ability for Zoom to carry later, make him safer in lane.
Something he was able to do last game, of course. And the Sylas is going to be coming out here from JD Gaming. A flex pick into the solo lane, which I think this is really smart for them because you don't have to show your hand. Oh, don't do it, please. Don't break my heart again, Vici.
Does Jay know Quinn as well? Does every mid laner on Vici play Quinn?
Don't break my heart like this, Vici.
I would say he had a very good matchup against the Sylas, though.
No! Like, yes, but no. I love Quinn so much.
I just love watching your reaction and seeing your disdain when someone picks Quinn and doesn't win with it.
It's so painful because last time
he was winning with Quinn.
He was 6-1.
Crashed.
He was 6-1. It was a 5K gold lead. 5K gold lead into a 3-hour pause. I have never been so hurt in my entire life.
It wasn't Quinn's fault. You need to stop blaming yourself, Matt. It wasn't about the Quinn. He was winning that game. The server crashed. There was nothing he could do, okay?
If we get another legendary
pause. In all honesty, he should have won that game. In all honesty, he should have won the game with the performance, okay?
I know. It just hurts. It hurts to see that it didn't get to come out, didn't get to show its best side, but we will get to see it this game. I'm very excited for that. And it is going to be the Sion as the final pickup there for JD Gaming in the top side.
So the matchups that I would like to see is actually the Quinn into the Sylas and the Nico. Okay, so they're actually not going to go for that. They're going to swap it around. I feel like Quinn into Sylas feels a little bit better for me. So much more punishing just with the damage. But Nico, of course, you can use the E on the abduct as well.
So this is something I actually know something about. So this is exciting.
You're the Quinn main.
Yeah, so this is fun. Sylas is a very easy matchup, like you said, because he gets zoned out.
You can't get an ult from you.
Right. You don't get an ult from him, so the best he can do is roam around, but you're Quinn. You're roaming around the whole time anyways. So that lane is pretty bad for the Sylas. The Sion lane is a lot harder to play into, because once he starts getting items, depending on what build you go, we see lethality a lot. Blade of the Ruin King as well. We see sometimes from the Quinn, but you just don't have a lot of damage. I'm expecting him to go phase rush. But that lane is significantly less fun.
So you're agreeing with me, basically. The Quinn should not go against the Sion. It should go against the Sylas.
I would definitely prefer it going against the Sylas.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well.
Because you can get away from the slow from the Scion with the phase rush. That is an option. You'll be able to kite him out and still do damage, but you don't threaten as hard. You don't punish as hard as you would against the Sylas.
Yeah, that's my thought process too. So I'm a little bit confused about this change, but we have seen a lot of teams actually just swap around their players to get the better lanes, and you can fool people in draft as well, which is a really interesting part about the game that I don't think a lot of people think about.
We've seen that so much recently.
Yeah.
FPX has been doing it really effectively as well. I believe Vici did it as well with no. Victory 5 has done that with their roster. Victory 5 literally was just like, we're taking the roster, all of you are flexed to both solo lanes now.
FPX did it with picks, but I wouldn't call it successful necessarily. I don't think Joinby's Kennen is necessarily his best champion.
God, no. Please, never again, FPX.
But they were willing to try.
They gave me so many heart attacks with this one, but we get to see a Quinn. Hopefully this time it doesn't crash the servers, but it's already crashed my brain a little bit. So we go into game number 2 of Vici versus JD Gaming. Please don't break my heart, Vici.
First win on Quinn. Make Quinn great again.
In it to Quinn it, baby. What?
Oh, that's a good start.
Yeah, I mean, that's objectively one of the better starts you can have. First blood going down there for Vici.
I'm really surprised that people still get level 1 killed by Olaf. I guess it's because they had the Yuumi. They're thinking, I got Yuumi. It's going to be fine. I have the 80%. I have the early slow, you know. I'm going to find someone. And then they run into Karma Olaf, and it's like, it's not what I imagined it would be.
So looking into the top lane, it is going to be the phase rush. Nothing too surprising there going into the Zoom. And Zoom has a Doran shield too. So this is going to be a lane where Chelizi doesn't put out a lot of damage. Let's get a replay of that first blood, though, see how this happened.
Okay, so JD Gaming tried to push the level 1 luck a lot more than they should have. You can instantly see that this was both summoners burned from Lumal. He's got the heal down already, and they loop around for more?
You know what all that damage came from, Clement? All that damage came from the Harrier, from the Quinn. I'm going to just say it. But there is one thing that I didn't mention about the Scion matchup, which is really strong, is that the Vault, which is what Chelizi started first, can interrupt both Jarvan's Flag and Drag and Zoom's Q on the Scion.
Oh, it actually knocks back the Q?
Yeah, it stops it during the charge. So it becomes a mind game. Instead of it being a straight up, okay, you are going to be knocked up, if you can time it properly, you will stop a large portion of Zoom's damage, and plus the phase rush, you're able to get out of the following slows.
Oh, that's such a huge reason to go up against Scion then. Like, a lot of champions that do well against Scion, something like a Maokai, is because they can interrupt the decimating smash. So, yeah, you're right. That actually takes away a lot of damage and might be the reason why they're running this.
The only problem you'll run into in the later stages of the game is potentially damage, but if Chelizi goes for a similar build to what we saw Ian go in the first remade game of that Vici V5 series. He's going to have the Blade of the Ruined King first, which gives a lot of chase down potential. Look, I know I'm still broken a little bit about that remake, but he'll have a lot of chase down potential, he'll have a lot of burst potential. And with the phase rush, he's going to be moving so fast. Very speedy bird.
Now, we've seen Jinnu be the first one to actually take out the Quinn in LPL during Season 8, and it was a very speedy build. He got the Ghost Blade, he got the Blade of the Ruined King, and in team fights he was going over 700 move speed, and he also had Celerity to put extra damage onto his attacks, but I believe the rune's been changed now.
It has. It'll just give you bonus move speed, and I want to see what Chelizi ends up maxing first here. Of course, Zoom going to be going into the Unsealed Spellbook. I can't only talk about Quinn, but I will.
You'll try to.
I'll do my best. You want to max the W sometimes in some of these more melee matchups, especially ones where you need the move speed. Yeah, you get additional move speed, you get additional attack speed, and especially if you're not going for the Ghost Blade first, it's a lot stronger with the Blade of the Ruined King. You get more autos off. You can proc your phase rush a lot faster. But of course, there's going to be the pro view going in. It's going to be Soutwind this game. Why isn't it Chelizi? I'm going to protest against that one, but you know what? It is what it is. Soutwind is an incredibly good support, so you'll get to see that if you head over to Douyu or Huya.
They should really do more pro views. Currently, we only have one person being pro viewed per match. And what I find most useful about a single person pro view is you can see how teams keep their timers. You see teams that actually keep very detailed timers. They'll be like, oh, flash at 12:15. And other teams will go like, oh, flash at 12. And when they look at their timers, they're like, well, we have to engage at 11 now.
Little bit of an engage going on into the mid lane, speaking of. Jay taking a lot of damage on the back half of that trade, so he's not going to be having too much of a fun time in this lane so far, but He has the Corrupting Potion plus the Dark Seal, so he's going to have quite a bit of sustain to keep himself healthy, plus the Biscuits, so no one's going to get chunked out too fast in this lane here.
I think he's actually been doing fine. He has a CS lead, he has a teleport advantage as well, so even though Yagao's landed every abduct when we pan over to the mid lane, I would still say Jay has been winning it.
There's the undertow, forcing the flash immediately, but the follow-up Tangle Barbs. Yagao so low, he's gone down, and Jay picks up the second kill of the game.
Good pathing from Youngdang. I don't believe the control ward actually spotted him soon enough.
Southwind preemptively taking away that blast plant. I love that. That's just one of those cheeky little plays that you're like, all right, I respect that, Southwind. And you can see that one a lot better if you go into the Pro View available on Douyu or Huya. Just got to advertise when you can, you know, Clement? Oh no, here comes the teleport in from Vici. They really want Flawless here. They're going to be able to land the root, but Flag and Drag will keep him safe.
I just felt like it was unfair that Flag and Drag actually took you out of roots. Like, just because it's 2 abilities and not a movement ability, quote unquote, feels weird.
Yeah, there's a little bit weird about Flag and Drag, but my favorite interaction, of course, is that if Chelizi ever gets ganked, hopefully we'll get to see it. You can just stop him from flagging and dragging.
That's the case. We've actually seen that quite frequently. I believe in the Xin Zhao versus Jarvan matchup as well. Like, the third strike just takes him down.
If the Chinese in solo queue that I understand is correct, it's apparently very frustrating for the Jarvan to have the flag and drag interrupted like that. So.
Oh, it's frustrating for everyone. It's just not just the Chinese. I hope you're familiar with the vernacular enough to understand what they're saying in solo queue.
Unfortunately, I am. I read things and I'm like, are you really? All right.
You really get to see the ancestor worship of the Chinese culture.
Well, I like run some things into Google Translate. I'm like, oh,
it's all about your family members.
It's like, yes, I will insult you based on filial piety. It's just like, great. I can't wait to hear a bunch of insults about my ancestry. That's fun.
So, looking at this, it's mainly about the snowball that happened level 1. Luma had to burn both of his summoner, gave up entirely on lane priority, and this is the result. Yagao is nowhere on the map, and I do expect that Vici should be able to take this quite handedly. They do need to avoid that Pop Blossom, though.
Yep, been stolen away by Yagao. Here comes the Scion ultimate as well. They will avoid the Pop Blossom for the time being. It's followed up by Jay, but the Dragon taken away by JD Gaming. Vici need to get something out of this, and Chelizi is here. Flashes in, gets the Harrier for the move speed. He's trying to take down Zoom as best he can. No third auto to follow. They're chasing in onto Yagao in the meantime. Gonna land the root onto him. Chelizi pops the ultimate. Gonna be chasing down onto Zoom, trying to find it under the tower. That is a very dangerous place to be. You don't have the AD for that one. And Vici Gaming get the worst end of that trade, losing the Dragon, losing... well, no members, but Yagao goes down.
I don't think it's actually that bad, though. They're going to have a lot of lane priority here, and the laning phase, well, okay, it's still going to go on for a very long time. Never mind. I thought that they almost had the bot lane tower down, and if that was the case, the Ocean Drake wouldn't actually be that bad.
It's going to be a little bit problematic, especially towards the top and bottom lanes, because both of them are trying to be lane dominant. But let's take a look at that fight one more time.
Yeah, the start of it was pretty damn bad to go in like that. You could see the instant damage coming down from Flawless just wipes the floor there, and they couldn't find the return kill until much later until the matchup. So Vici probably could have positioned a little bit better there, and we do see that there was one kill going over to Flawless, which is going to give him a little bit more ganking pressure, especially this bot lane, which really needs it.
Both the top and bottom lane are going to be having a whole lot of trouble from the Ocean Drake, because for both of them, you really need to push down. You really need to get that extra damage, especially into a Scion matchup. I mean, the strength of Scion, he's very beefy. If you can get him low, that's great. But if he can just heal up from an Ocean Drake, suddenly Quinn doesn't have kill pressure in the lane, and she's forced to roam. So expect a little bit of extra pressure onto Yagao.
Yeah, this Ocean Drake is actually great because you're playing 3 essentially melee versus range matchups.
Yeah.
So being able to hide underneath your tower and just get extra HP is going to be so frustrating.
Culling come out from Puff, and they need to be careful. Flawless is here in the bush. Jay is here into the bottom side of the map as well. So that fight will be taken away. JDG not going to go for that one just yet. Flag going to be tossed there for a little bit of vision there from Flawless. Taken away is the control ward, and now Youngdang going to back off.
Love that cheeky electro Q coming in from Flawless. If you tag someone with an ability, you get it.
It was very little damage, though.
Yeah,
but
it sent a message.
it did. That message is for the next 40 seconds. I don't have Electrocute. Not going to find the burst, but Southwind in a whole lot of trouble. That Karma's not going to be able to do a whole lot. And the problem continues is Puff getting poked out, taken down by JD Gaming. Shutdown going over to Imp.
That was a bit surprising from Vici. They had 0 summoners, still decided to stay in the lane when they knew Jarvan was there. Easiest gank I've seen in the LPL this split.
Really unfortunate here for Vici in the early game, but they still have the gold lead for the time being, but they're not going to be able to find a whole lot of purchase in the solo lanes, at least top and bottom. So need to make something happen around the map, I feel like, at this point, but Rift Herald is spawning in a few seconds.
It does really change the dynamic of this game, though. Just getting that double kill down so early, I think JD Gaming is going to have a easy setup time during the second Ocean Drake. If they get this Ocean Drake, I think they're actually quite happy to extend the laning phase. They're not going to take that much damage, and you can roll snowball into stronger 5v5 team fights.
Vici need to be playing very carefully for the next minute and 40 seconds. They need to be able to set up for that dragon for themselves, try and deny it from JD Gaming. Just as JD Gaming just denied the back from Youngdang. And that control ward, that is the second time he has been taken out in that spot. Very happy place for kills to go down onto wards at this point, but Vici looking towards the bottom side. They're still looking for this dive, potentially.
They've had mid lane priority for a very long time here, and looks like they're finally going to get it. Timed it with the red buff coming up from Flawless, so smart idea.
Youngdang going to look for the pop blossom, flashes onto Imp. That's a lot of damage. Tangle Barbs, teleports coming in, but it may be too little too late at this point. Flawless is here as well. Yagao has the pop blossom stolen. He's looking for the slow with a prowling projectile. They're going to be able to find it. Flash in, abscond, final chapter, pop blossom. That's the ultimate combo you're looking for if you're JD Gaming. They're able to take down Jay, but will find no one else. Oh no, I say that, but here comes Zoom. He's looking for it with the ultimate. He has Ghost available afterwards, but I don't think that ultimate's going to go anywhere. The Cataclysm down onto Southwind. I spoke too soon. He goes golden. Does Vici have the damage to stop this? They don't. It's a 4 versus 3 at this point. Now 4 versus 2. Southwind taken down.
And Vici overstay again. Great chase down by JD Gaming. Vici thought they were safe, but they were actually just backing on a ward.
No.
Oh,
Abscond abduct. Gotta watch out for it at all times. Yagao going to be able to pick up another one, and Vici are just suffering in this early game.
Those 2 kills were not something that JD Gaming should have been able to get, but they were a bit lucky. They found someone teleporting back on a ward, get an extra kill, and then Youngdang walks back. I almost wanted to compliment Vici because it was such a cool use of Nico's inherent glamour. I've almost never seen a passive used that well in an actual competitive game. Jay was able to disguise himself as the Olaf and goad Imp to go over and then auto-attack him thinking that he was a melee champion, but instead he just flashes forward and gets the early kill onto Imp. However, the comeback from JD Gaming was just much better. Those 2 kills are really going to hurt Vici. They never should have been given to JD Gaming.
Vici, however, do have leads in both the bottom lane and the mid lane in CS, so at the very least that will be going for them. However, you look towards the top side of the map, and you know I have to talk about it. First up, there's the lane swap, bottom lane into the top side. They're going to be looking towards that Rift Herald, get a lot of pressure there. And I don't think we even have time to talk about much else because everyone's positioning up towards this. Yagao getting chunked out there a little bit by the Q from Jay. Steals away the Pop Blossom, not surprising there. That is the 3rd one he's going to steal this game. Vici playing very carefully, looking to try and take away this red buff from Flawless. They should be able to do it at this point. Imp and Lumao trying to contest. It gets smited away by Flawless, so Puff not going to be able to pick that one up. With a Rift Herald, that is the major objective everyone here is looking for.
So this is an interesting swap from Vici. They should still have priority in the bot lane, but the reason they swapped was because after the kills, they actually had a tempo lead coming back onto the map, and they didn't want to walk into the bot side where JD Gaming actually had vision advantage. So the way I read this swap coming in from Vici is actually to get a better position onto Herald. You can see the first thing that they did after the swap was instantly go into the red side, try to clear that one out, and that's going to allow them to get the setup.
Youngdang going to try and put a little bit of damage down on the Flawless. Conqueror's been procced, forcing away the flash. That's going to be a problem towards the Rift Herald fight. But so is Youngdang's low health, so he may need to wait, regen up a little bit.
And we see the Herald fight being started immediately. Flawless still has a chance to get this steal.
Teleport available from Zoom as well. It is for Chelizi as well, but if I had to bet on what I wanted teleporting into my team fight, I would heavily prefer the Scion to the Quinn. Vici going to be forced off of that one. They know the teleport threat is available. And speaking of the Quinn a little bit, this is a really disappointing Quinn game. I will be the first one to complain about it because Quinn, look, I play a lot of Quinn. I know her strengths. You are either a lane bully, side lane pressure, or you roam a lot. Chelizi has gotten off 0 successful roams. The one teleport he has made was into a team fight that did not end well for his team. He has not been able to play to the strength of this champion, and now that Zoom has the Thornmail, he's not going to be able to take the 1v1s. He doesn't have a combat rune that's going to be able to give him extra damage. It just gives him move speed. If you have press the attack, you have a chance.
I watched his lane quite carefully, and he was always pushed underneath his own tower. I think the main thing is that they never had vision around him, and now he's going to die.
100% he's going to die. Final chapter, you don't even need all that much. It's a Quinn. He's dead. Chelizi's down. 0, 1, and 1. My heart down as well. Absolutely broken. Much like this tower in the top lane, Puff's going to be able to take that one down. At the very least, getting the first tower for his team.
Oh,
Hey, there he is.
Well done. And they get Herald as well, so, you know, your Quinn died for a valiant reason.
This is literally what Quinn can do at this point in the game. She just dies and everything else happens around the rest of the map.
I will say Quinn is a champion that has terrible scaling. Has one of the lowest bonus AD scalings on any champion, so if you can't make use of her early scaling, not much better is going to happen for her.
There are some Quinn one tricks who go for a later game scaling build, sort of like an AD carry build. Also, that JDG picking up the double ocean, that is just miserable there. Vici aren't going to be able to poke down a damn thing anymore. But some Quinn mains are going to go for like an AD carry style build, and that's great, but you're vulnerable. You don't have a front line if you do that here for Vici. So
do you
it's
prefer
just
the Black Cleaver build?
In this particular game, I think I would, because I don't think you're going to be able to get as much damage playing as an AD carry as you would playing as a skirmisher. The very least, Vici are going to be able to pick up the mid lane tower and chunk down onto the inner tower.
Always poke people in the eyes when you're fighting. Remember that, kids. Does save you from a lot of pain.
League of Legends teaching some valuable life lessons. That was a good juke out there from Jay. It did trick him out a little bit. At the very least, Jay is showing some really incredible, clever uses of the inherent glamour, just always pretending to be Youngdang, getting into these fights, into the positions where the Tangle Barbs can land without the enemy feeling like they're pressured.
Well, I want to give Quinn still a little bit of hope. I feel like Vici are...
Me too, man.
They're actually okay in this in the map control department. Chelizi is still going to be able to leave his lane. Now he has the Blade of the Ruin King completed, so we might be seeing a Quinn roam sometime. Mid lane tower is also down, so he can go there.
Yeah, the problem with this bottom lane right now is you're going to see it as he tries to attack Zoom. The Thornmail does so much to mitigate Quinn's damage.
I don't think he's ever going to be able to kill Zoom. No. Like, Zoom with double
100%.
Ocean is unkillable, but he will be able to push the lane in.
That's all he's going to be able to do right now. And
well,
I mean,
you can roam mid. That's probably the best scenario we got for you.
You're right. You have
it's
to push and roam
ocean.
at this point.
Oh, this is boring. I hate triple ocean. Like, nobody uses a third ocean.
JDG might, if they're able to take down this next fight in the next 3 minutes. Baron is on the field as well in 2.5. I don't think either team is quite ready to go for that at this point. And if you look down onto the bottom lane, Imp has picked up all the items he needs for that Evolve Q, so he's going to be able to fight. If JDG want to take an objective at this point, I feel like they can just force it. I mean, they have so many items.
JD have a much better 5-to-5 team composition. They have a much stronger front line. Kai'Sa's going to deal more damage than Lucian later on as well. So I feel like Vici are the one that really need to press this. They are the priority team comp that is supposed to get kills from overflowing their lanes.
Oh, Yagao going to be looking for Puff. He's not going to be able to find the abscond. So won't be able to follow up. The Nico Pop Blossom still stolen there for Yagao, so he'll have the capacity to go in. Worth noting as well, he has the Aftershock instead of going for the squishy or electrocute. So he's going to be able to engage these team fights pretty healthily. We've seen him do that before, and it combos well with the Pop Blossom, combos well with the Proto Belt that he's been able to pick up. And he even has the stopwatch. So it's very dangerous coming out from this mid laner of JD Gaming.
I think JD Gaming are just waiting until the Baron comes up. They have the comp to just sit there and wait for people to come in.
JD going for an early Baron. Say it ain't so.
Guessed.
Say it ain't so, Clement.
I don't really see how VG Gaming check. How much is the range on W for Queen? It's like 11,000?
Significant, yeah.
Okay.
It's
Maybe
about
that's
like
enough.
2/3 of a blue trinket, I think. Somewhere around there.
Okay.
I know it can see the tri-brush while you're pushed up, attacking the tower from top lane. So if you use that as your...
Yeah, that's the biggest advantage of Quinn. Nobody knows what her actual kit is, like her full kit. There's so few Quinn players. Like, the only Quinn player that I've actually seen playing like high Korean Challenger is Jinwoo. Jill's literally the only guy.
Yeah, all the Quinn one-tricks in Korea are somewhere near like Diamond 2 or Masters, so none of them really reaching the highest echelons there in the Korean region at the very least. But we see a different build coming out from them, and Chelizi's just gone for what I'd like to call the Desperation Hex Drinker, because he knows he's not going to be doing damage this game. He knows all he's going to be able to do is just push out these lanes.
Well, you do what you have to do. There's not much I can say about that one. JD Gaming's been avoiding these roams quite well. Like, I remember the head-to-head we had about how many wards Lurima was placing over Southwind. I think that's coming into effect. They've been able to walk out of a lot of these Vici ganks.
I mean, how are you going to be able to stop Zoom's push as well? I mean, Chelizi's always going to be the one to answer them, and sure, he has wave clear, but, like, you cannot kill this Scion. At any point, he has Thornmail, he's working on, I believe, Righteous Glory. He's got a stopwatch, too, for some reason. He's got Tabby. There's no way a Quinn is going to be able to take that man down.
Unfortunately for Vici's composition, I do think their time is pretty much up. It's very difficult to win this comp after 20 minutes. It's a composition that you're supposed to win out top side, you're supposed to win out, bully out the mid lane, you're supposed to bully out the bot lane and then transition that into something.
If they're able to take a team fight now, maybe they can stall out the game a little bit longer. Jay has picked up both of his items, so now he has so much team fight prowess that AoE slows. The Ocean Drake is spawning. I want to see where each team goes with this one, because with both objectives on the field, it would be kind of dumb to prioritize the Dragon over the Baron.
The way I read this team fight, they need a great Pop Blossom from Jay just to kill the back line. I think that's the most important thing, because if most of Puff's damage is going to go on Scion, the team fight's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, it's just a pure frozen heart coming out here for Zoom. He has literally 0 MR. But there is one thing that Chelizi will never do, and it's auto-attack Zoom without taking more damage from Thornmail than he deals.
That's the 15% slow on the entire team for attack speed. That's a smart idea. Like, every single person on that team is actually reliant on auto-attacks. Even the Karma, you know? You need those auto-attacks to get your ult off faster.
Oh, there's maybe a little bit of damage coming in from Chelizi, but he's not going to find a whole lot. Doesn't have just raw damage. And I would kind of prefer to see him go for the same build that Puff is going for. I've seen Blade of the Ruin King into Essence Reaver in a few high solo queue Quinn games, and the strength it gives you is a lot of CDR for extended trades, extended fights, but that also gives you wave push. The capacity to regen your mana while you ult lets you run around, pick up waves, try and stop the push. So, since you know you're going to be contesting Zoom and will never do damage to him, get the 20% CDR, get the mana regen, get the AD from it, shove out that wave, ult away, back off, you're fine. And you can keep doing that, and at the very least try and stop Zoom from doing anything in team fights, because God knows you won't be doing anything in team fights.
Okay.
That's my
it's
assessment.
Okay, man. It's okay, man.
It's okay.
Do you need a hug? Look, Vici are still having gold. I think they ran out the timer on their composition, but they're still ahead of gold, you know?
It's 200 gold, Clement!
You have something to look forward to. I don't know what to say, okay? But seriously, JD Gaming are actually going to go for Baron next. Like, Zoom, they've already got the Stone Plate ready on Flawless. That's basically the go button. You go into the team fight, you lock Jay up, make sure you can't get that perfect Pop Blossom. That's pretty much it.
Double evolve on Imp as well. So they have the Q evolve, they have the E evolve, they can fight. Yagao has the full stopwatch at this point. There is literally nothing stopping this team from just running down Vici, other than the threat of the bird.
And they're always setting it up. The threat of a bird is not enough.
It's nothing.
Unfortunately, you're not piloting this game.
I know. Let's be frank, Clement. It is absolutely zero threat at this point. All he can do is pick up waves. I don't see a way that Vici find their way back into this outside of an absolutely immaculate team fight. But as we've been saying, JDG just have the better composition for it.
They're already set up around that Baron pits. 23 minutes, time to go. Looking for that full engage.
There's a slow in from Jay. One of his 2 items to get the Glacial Augment has been popped. That was a good jump out, but now he has to flash. The Cataclysm has gone down, plus the final chapter. Puff is in a little bit of danger. Abscond Duck plus the Pop Blossom, but it's going to return. Yagao goes golden before it can land. The Tangle Barbs might keep him under the tower, might get the kill. No, it won't, and the heal has to be used there from the side of Vici. Chelizi, get out of here!
Yeah, I think JD Gaming should have won that team fight, but a little bit of unfortunate positioning from the team members right there. You actually saw the ultimate from Scion blocked by Jarvan. That would have been the full combination if it was like EQ combo into final chapter into the Scion ult. So Vici actually find themselves a fighting chance. They've got enough HP down.
Vici are trying to stop this from happening, but the heals from Yumi are just too hard, too fast, doing too much to keep them up. Chelizi can't find anything. Vici can't find anything at this point. Maybe if they look for a pick off onto the side onto Imp. No, they're just teleporting into the Baron. Maybe the flank coming out.
This is the Pop Blossom we were talking about. They have to find the Kai'Sa in the back line.
It's not up yet, Clement.
Uh-oh.
This is a problem.
They were spotted.
Jay, what are you doing? He has the first item, but that's just Jay down. He didn't have the ultimate available when he teleported.
He actually walked over a trinket as well. So, bit unfortunate there. I think he should have noticed that, but he effectively didn't do anything, and this is a clear go button for JD Gaming on the Baron.
It's not a lamb before the slaughter, it's the chameleon before the JD Gaming, and this time it did end in a death. Now Zoom looking for an engage, forces the flash from Southwind. Vici just lost their primary engage, lost their primary damage threat. Pop Blossom's up now, but he's dead for 17 seconds, and the Baron is going to be started up by JD Gaming.
And just look at how much JD Gaming is actually healing. They lost half of their HP in the previous team fights. Triple Ocean Drake right back to full. 4v5 instantly started. Youngdang still have his flash, though, so that's something that they can hope for.
That's something they're going to have to pray for at this point. Puff getting smacked by the final chapter. The flash in is going to secure his demise as Southwind tries to get away, but the auto comes in from Imp. That's a double kill for him. He's going to find a third there. Lumao takes it away. Cheeky little cat smiling away. And now JD Gaming can turn freely onto the Baron. Only Chelizi and Jay alive.
Yeah, it definitely looks like Quinn is going to stay at 0% win rate for this game. Very unfortunate for the champion, but I kind of question the decision to go Quinn into Sion. That lane didn't really work out. I feel like that's a lane where you need a lot of early pressure, a couple kills onto Sion to really make it a split-pushing lane. But if Sion just gets free coverage and gets to scale out alongside the Quinn, not much you can do for that, not even lane priority most of the time.
It's a lane that works significantly worse in competitive than in solo queue, right? Because the strength of Quinn in that lane is you're going to be able to pressure the Sion at the very least. Maybe not kill him, he's a huge tank. But let's take this team fight again.
Really smart idea for JD Gaming. They spot Youngdang on the back of that. Instant engage in the front line with a numbers advantage and another cool usage of the Yumi. Just going on with all the gap closers, making sure they take no damage at all. Great chase down potential.
Vici at the very least will be able to find that Mountain Drake there. And like I was saying, the problem with the Sion matchup there is you need to be able to roam with this.
Yeah, in the previous matches, we've actually seen Vici do very well when they had the Quinn against the Sylas matchups. That's what we've been mainly seeing the Quinn for, actually, is just to punish that Sylas. But didn't really happen this time around, and they ran it themselves into the tank matchup.
Chelizi is going for a more 80 carry-ish build, has the rapid fire cannon, but it's not doing a whole lot for him against Zoom. And at this point, I think it's a little bit too late. Even having trouble clearing the waves. So Zoom has teleport as well. Jay trying to zone JD Gaming off this tower. Culling has been stolen away by Yagao. Pops that one immediately just to clear the waves, clear the side of Vici from this fight.
Whew. That was just one W onto Jay's face. Half HP instantly. The AP build coming in from Kai'Sa just doing so much damage. You do get the Muramana procs from the Kai'Sa W as well.
In addition, Imp has the triple evolve at this point with the Nashor's Tooth being completed, so his W, his Q, his E all doing tons of damage. And Zoom just casually tanking the tower there in the bottom lane. Will pick up that inner tower, but Chelizi maybe looking for the chase here. Youngdang gets the slow with the undertow. There he goes again. Yagao going to use the Pop Blossom, not going to find anyone. The engage comes in, final chapter. The first one to fall is going to be Jay. And now Vici have to kite this one out, try and find literally anything on the back of it, but I don't think they'll be able to.
Oof. Tough situation for Vici Gaming. They actually isolated their backline for a long time, but Zoom and the front line of JD Gaming are just indomitable. Too much HP, too much armor. It's almost like they have a night bonus in TFT. Ooh, Southwind.
Southwind going to be picked off quite easily there in that fight. And Yagao may be able to find him. He's popped the zonies at this point. Zoom incredibly low as well. The heals coming out from Yumi are just doing too much for them to contend with on the side of Vici. And now, inhib down, so is Lucian. Chelizi, he's going to do his best. He's going to try and make this pick look good. Yagao even steals the Quinn. Come on, man. Insult to add it to injury. And JD Gaming continue their rise back into the ranks of the LPL. They look to take down Vici in this game number 2. They take him down in the fountain. They might even find another one. They do. The complete ace in the fountain. JD Gaming, they're climbing their way back on top before Rift Rivals.
JD Gaming are immaculate with their mid-game macro this series. It found them so many opportunities. They outscaled Vici's composition quite well, and they also got 4 early picks that I don't think Vici should have given over to JD Gaming. Those 2 kills in the bot lane that they gave to Flawless allowed him to tank up, and then in the other ensuing fight where they had this great play from Jay, they tried to back on a ward and JD Gaming found 2 extra kills. All of that money going over to a composition that should have had a rough early game just made it easy for JD.
I feel like at this point I need to buy Vici's coach a beer. Because on one hand, I appreciate his dedication to Quinn because he's now asked 2 of his players to play it, or maybe, God knows why, Chelizi and Ian may just both enjoy the champion. I understand that, but at the same time, in this draft, I feel like the Quinn made some of the least sense you can find because we were talking about, yes, it is very good in the Silas, but when you still have the option to last pick a full tank like the Scion for Zoom, you lose so much effectiveness, and you saw it there. JD Gaming didn't really have to do a whole lot. Once they got to the later stages of the game, Vici just didn't have anything to contend with.
Yeah, this is just a situation of Vici having an early game composition that's supposed to win lane, supposed to snowball in the jungle, start roaming around. It didn't really happen. They didn't get ahead in lane, and JD Gaming just 23 minutes said, hey, let's go to Baron, let's start going into the 5v5, and they just lost. There's not much that Vici could do. So we're seeing Vici try to expand on their compositions. I think that's worthy of applause. They need more than just Puff and Southwind getting ahead or getting to the late game on something like Ezreal, on something like on the Lucian. So they're trying something new. But like we were talking about, Vici's biggest weakness is how monotone they are in the draft, and I felt like Coach Home did such a good job shutting them down. They never let them get the Yuumi, never let them get the Rek'Sai, 2 main compositions out the window, and it doesn't seem like Vici can play an early game-centric composition yet.
I'd like to see them develop it because, I'm going to be honest, I love the Quinn.
I know
But
you do.
it's the same problem, though, that JDG have been having with their compositions, or at least were at some points. Home, I feel, is a fairly inconsistent coach in drafts, where some drafts you're like, oh my god, and this happened this series. It was like, that is a fantastic draft, Home. That's fantastic. I love it. Great job. Other games, you're like, what were you thinking?
Well, come on, give the man some credit this
I
series.
do.
Like,
I do.
he
Home
did well.
drafted beautifully.
Oh.
The entire team of JD Gaming played so much better than we've seen from
Can
them
I
this
just
way.
say, I don't think Quinn is like a blind pickable champion.
No.
Definitely not.
You have to know your matchup, because unless you're willing to sacrifice a bunch of time and a bunch of resources to flex it to the lane where it's actually supposed to win, you can just pick something into it that counters it.
And we've actually seen previous Quins, the way that EDG played it, and not EDG, sorry, LGD played it with Jinnu, is that he didn't actually bring teleport. He ran Ignite, and they tried to hard snowball his lane as hard as possible. And in this game, you see this is teleport. You're playing mainly towards the bot side. The top side doesn't get a natural lead, and it kind of just fizzles out. But if you're on that Quinn train, I think in terms of competitive, you have to be ride or die. You have to be just, take the Ignite, get the kills in lane, start roaming naturally, set that lane up for success. It can't really be this, well, if we get the roam, then it's great. But so not the best conditions for the pick, I think.
Yeah, the teleport was something I took issue with as well, that I wasn't really super vocal about, because I figured they were just like, oh, maybe if we split push really carefully, the teleport will come in handy. But you do really need to throw all those eggs in the Quinn basket, and Vici, as much as they're willing to pick the pick, you need to pick it for the right reasons. You need to give it the strengths. You need to give it the opportunities to win, and they didn't.
Yeah.
It fell flat, and I feel like that was the problem for Vici this series, is as a team, they fell flat.
Props to JD Gaming, though. I actually felt like they held on to their bot lane very well. You have to remember that was a no summoner support playing in the bot side against an Olaf. There was 2 tower dives, and they never actually gave up kills during that. So they backed out at the right timings. They were able to outlast Vici in this sense, and then get to the phase where they were strong. So this is something that JD Gaming's bot lane, it's pretty much their task to do. Just don't die when Emmy tries to tower dive you. And it's good to see that they're stepping up to the plate and at least shoring down the role on the team for that one. So JD Gaming, back to basics, really good smart draft. We're seeing a lot of variety here. Strong pocket picks coming out from Yagao in this series. And I hope that they can finally be able to stabilize. I would hate to see them go up against Griffin in the form that they were in the previous 3 weeks.
Yeah, because that form was not good at all, Clement. But they've been able to pick up a lot of the pieces that we were hoping they would find earlier. One of the problems we had, of course, was their macro. We're saying, okay, it's past 20 minutes. Why are you at the Baron? Literally, why are you taking the Baron right now? This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. But suddenly this
That
game.
was a good Baron.
Yeah, no, but that's my point, is
Yeah.
this series, every single Baron, when they went to it, they knew why they were there. They knew exactly what they wanted to establish. They knew exactly how they wanted to establish it. And that is a far cry from what we even saw in their last series.
Yeah.
Because in their last series, yes, they won. But how did they win it? They went to the Baron at 23 minutes. They went to the Baron at 24 minutes. They went to the Baron at 25 minutes. They never stopped going to the Baron, and eventually it worked.
There are differences between early Baron takes. If you're sitting on 3 Ocean, you're not going to take any damage. You have a Scion in the front line, and you just want to turn and get a team fight. I fully support you. That's fine. The Barons that JD Gamer were going for were 50-50 Barons where they didn't have full vision control. The enemy could freely walk into River, and they didn't necessarily win the team fight either. So it was like, okay. There are very, very risky Barons to take, but these one are much better, like you were talking about. And I think JD Gaming are finally going to rise up to form. Previously, my view on the LPL playoff scenario was going to be that we're probably going to see W and JD Gaming drop out of the playoff scene and see LNG and see maybe LGD step up and try to challenge those positions. But it's good to see them stabilize.
Yeah, JDG shaping up for Rift Rivals, and coming up next, we're going to be having our next series, IG versus Top Esports, another Rift Rivals matchup, the semifinals matchup, coming back to bite us here in week number 4. Can't wait for it. Hope you can either.